Alright, today I'm going over how to install the Tectico side marker lights. This also includes the DZG lights. So basically I've already installed them. As you can see, have them all hooked up, tied back, so on and so forth. Basically, to install these things, you're going to have to remove the sound foam. Pretty easy to remove, shouldn't cause any issues. Just kind of pull that back, and you'll see here there's 3 clips. Same on the OEM part. Basically, I had a toolkit for removing trim and such. I recommend grabbing one of those. The kit does come with a wrench, but it can be a little bit difficult to reach it back there. And basically, you have to kind of get the tool to pry it up, and you also have to press on this side to remove the clip. It could be a bit of a difficulty. You kind of get it after a little process. I'll show you now how that works. Alright, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to explain. Like I said, I picked up a trim removal kit. I found that to be the easiest option because the actual kit that comes with the lights comes with this little pry bar. It does work. I used it a bit to try and remove this piece, but I found it a little bit easier with a little bit longer length to get into like the small crevices with this. So basically there's a metal bracket that is going to be along these, and you have to try and hit both these pins at the same time to kind of pinch and pull out. So took some with a little bit of pry force, and I kind of slipped it right behind, so you can kind of see it marks up the foam a little bit, but I slipped that right between the metal and the bracket, and I applied just a little bit of tension. And if you get kind of good with it, you can apply the tension and you can apply your finger, and when you do this, you can then take your other hand on the outside of this and you can pull it off of the car. I recommend doing the top and bottom and then the side. It's really up to you which way you want to do it. I don't think the way in which I did it was really the best way to do it. I'm just not that experienced when it comes to removing trim and stuff like that. Yeah, like I said, it takes a little bit of time. It took me longer than I'd like to admit. So as you can see, kind of remove it. Get these pins out. I did top, bottom, and then I did the side. It just made it a little bit easier. You can see what I mean with the door being open. It makes it a little bit easier. So now that's popped out. You're going to go and take the Tectico part. It's pretty easy to clip in. I will say that I had to peel the foam back a little bit here just because of my car. I do have a 2021 Bronco Outerbanks. It might be different between cars, but I don't think so. Wiring should all be the same as well. But you peel that foam back a little bit. It takes a little bit of force. Try not to bend your trim. I took one hand, held the trim back, and I just pushed the piece in. So I've seen a couple ways in which people have installed these things. I wasn't sure exactly how to go about it. I figured this was actually probably the easiest way to go about this. If you guys never use these, this is a quick splice. I ended up picking up a quick splice kit. This is not the size I used. This is a smaller size. I used a 18 to 22 gauge. If you've never used them, it's fairly easy. Basically, take Leatherman, whatever you got, pliers, and you're going to put them onto the wires. I'm going to show you the wires in which you install them on. And you're going to press down this little metal bit, and that's going to connect the 2 wires. And you're going to clamp it down, and that'll close it down. All right, so we're on the driver's side. This is your light fixture. Wires coming down. So I connected the ground cable to this black and green cable right here. They're all the same size, so you just had to pick up a 18 to 22 gauge pack. You pick up pretty much any automotive store. It's pretty easy, pretty cheap. So you're going to clamp these down. Like I said, you're going to push the metal bracket down. You're going to close it. This is your running light, this red cable right here. This is going to connect to this thick brown cable with a little blue stripe, as you can kind of see that there. And that's going to be your running light. And if you go down here, this yellow cable, it's going to be your blinker. Now your model might not have this red cable. I know some of them don't have the white lights, but so they all should have this yellow cable. So this yellow cable is going to connect to this blue, I believe it's a blue-green cable. To kind of make it fit, I did have to cut back the harness a bit, which it kind of depends on how your Ford manufacturer actually wrapped your wires, but mine was just a little bit too close, so I had to cut it back just a smidge. No more than like a centimeter or two. So it's going to be the exact same thing on this side, except some of the cables are different colors. So this is the passenger side. So if you go down, a little more wound up in which way we just kind of ended up doing this. So black cable, it's your ground cable. Your ground cable is going to connect to this black purple. It's on the right hand side. If you have the daylight running cable, which is the red one, it's going to connect to the green and blue cable, this nice thick one right here. And then if you have the blinker cable, which you should, that's going to connect to this yellow purple. So yellow, yellow, purple, red, green and blue, black, black and purple. Now, before you end up tying back anything and neating everything up, you're going to want to make sure the blinker is working correctly. So this should work for your hazards. I just turn on the hazards, makes it easier. You hit your blinker if you want to turn your car on. So your amber should be blinking. Should be the same on the other side. Just want to test this before you do anything else. Alright, so while the car is running, I don't know if you can hear me over the sound of the car, but while the car is running, especially when it's going to be when your headlights are on, this white light's going to come on. It's not too blinding at night. Looks good. Makes the car look good. And once again, you should see this on both sides. If you don't, I'd recommend checking cables, make sure you did the right ones, make sure your splicing is correct, and make sure you did everything correctly with that. Now I'm just quickly going to go over how I tied this back. Ultimately, that's up to you how you do it. Obviously, you're going to want to tuck the sound foam back. You can kind of just get the wire around the one side. I put the box on the wall. I'm not sure if it's really showing just because of where I had placed. But I tried placing the wires as far away as possible from the engine and everything, just because I didn't want anything to short. I didn't want the cables to get hot. I didn't want any of the coating to melt. So I just tied it back on a lot of the wiring. Now it's different on each side because you do have your windshield wiper fluid on the other side, so it's a little bit tighter. But in my opinion, it's a little bit easier to wire up that end. But like I said, this is how I did this. The driver's side. Now if we go over the passenger side, once again, just kind of tied it back to the cables. Try and keep it as far as possible from the engine and everything like that. Kept it all tied up. Like I said, it's a little bit tighter back here. And then there around the sound foam. So overall, not too difficult. Honestly, the longest process was just trying to remove the OEM parts, just because the way in which they're installed, they could be a little bit difficult to try and get all the pins out. And sometimes you move it the wrong way, you can end up re-putting the pins back in. But once you get that out, honestly, everything's pretty much an easy breeze. Like I said, I recommend a trim kit, and I would recommend using the quick splices, these little guys here. I think these are the easiest way to install. I've seen 2 or 3 other ways in which people have installed these. Found this to be the easiest. This took me all about 5 minutes, 10 minutes at most. It's pretty quick and easy. If you got a friend to help you out with it, not a bad idea.